When a woman ignores you, your first instinct might be to chase her, to ask what's wrong, or to try harder to get her attention. But that's the exact reaction she's testing you for. In the modern dating world, a woman's silence isn't always rejection. It's often a psychological move to see how strong you are emotionally, how secure you are in yourself, and whether you'll lose control when she withdraws her energy. Most men fail this test because they panic. They overthink, they text too much, or they start doubting their worth. That's when attraction dies. The truth is simple. The more emotional you get about her distance, the more control you give away. A woman feels a man's energy before anything else. When your energy becomes needy, nervous, or desperate for her attention, she feels it, and she pulls back even further. But when you stay calm, collected, and unbothered, her curiosity kicks in. She starts wondering why you're not reacting like other men. That's where reverse psychology begins to work in your favor. This video is not about pretending to be cold or heartless. It's about responding with quiet power. It's about holding your frame, controlling your emotions, and showing through your actions that her attention doesn't define your value. When you master this mindset, you flip the dynamic. You stop chasing validation and start commanding respect. That's when she stops ignoring you and starts paying attention again. 1. Hold your frame when a woman ignores you. The first rule is simple: hold your frame. Your frame is your mental and emotional foundation, the energy you project that tells her who you are without saying a word. When she goes silent or pulls away, she's subconsciously testing whether your emotions depend on her reactions. If you crumble, chase, or act confused, you've failed that test. But if you stay calm, focused, and composed, you show that your value stands on its own. Women are instinctively drawn to emotional strength. It makes them feel secure, even if they can't explain why. When you hold your frame, you're communicating confidence without needing to talk about it. You're saying, "I'm good with or without your attention." And that unspoken message is powerful. Holding your frame doesn't mean playing games or acting fake. It means not allowing her behavior to disturb your peace. When she ignores your messages, you don't double text. When she cancels plans, you don't ask why or demand explanations. When she gets distant, you don't chase, because you're too focused on yourself to lose balance over someone else's mood. The man who holds his frame sends one clear message: I choose peace over chaos. And women notice that energy. They're used to men who beg for attention, men who can't handle silence, men who crumble under emotional pressure. So when she meets a man who doesn't break his focus, she gets intrigued. She starts wondering if she misjudged you, and her curiosity begins to grow. The moment you start reacting emotionally to her withdrawal, you lose your frame. You turn her test into proof that you're not centered. But when you keep your cool, something interesting happens. She starts to feel that her silence isn't affecting you. That disrupts her plan. Her mind starts to shift from control to confusion. She begins to wonder why you're not responding like everyone else. That's the first spark of attraction returning. Reverse psychology works best when you don't announce it. You don't tell her you're done chasing. You simply act like your life doesn't revolve around her. So instead of focusing on what she's doing, turn the energy back on yourself. Go to the gym, handle your business, focus on your appearance, your work, your goals. Let your growth be your response. Nothing stings more than seeing a man become even more confident and disciplined after she pulls away. That's the power of frame. It communicates louder than words ever could. When she sees that you're not shaken by her distance, she starts to feel the pressure instead. Her ego starts to question itself. And when she realizes she no longer controls your emotions, she begins to miss the validation you once gave her. That's when she starts reaching out again, often subtly, liking your posts, replying to an old message, or checking in for no reason. The point is, you don't win by reacting. You win by staying still, centered, and unfazed. The less you chase, the more she notices. The more you focus on yourself, the more her attention starts to return naturally. Women aren't attracted to men who lose control. They're attracted to men who lead with calm confidence. So every time she ignores you, take it as a reminder to tighten your frame. Let her silence be your cue to level up. The man who holds his frame never begs, never explains, and never chases validation. He knows who he is, and that's exactly what keeps her coming back. 2. Pull back completely. When she starts ignoring you, your best move isn't to try harder. It's to pull back completely. The biggest mistake most men make is believing that persistence will change her mind. But in reality, when a woman withdraws, your energy becomes too predictable and she starts to feel she's in full control. Pulling back changes that dynamic instantly. It resets the balance and forces her to feel your absence. It's not about being cold, it's about reclaiming your power. The less available you are, the more her mind starts to wander. She starts to think about you again, not because you said something clever or emotional, but because silence makes her question what's happening. That curiosity becomes attraction. Pulling back means no unnecessary communication. Don't text her to check in. Don't ask why she's distant. And definitely don't send long messages explaining your feelings. Women are emotional, but they respect logic and control. When you disappear calmly, without drama or explanation, it speaks louder than any paragraph ever could. She expects you to chase. When you don't, it interrupts her emotional pattern. Suddenly, she's not the one being pursued. She's the one left wondering what went wrong. That's the beginning of reverse psychology. It's not manipulation, it's self-control. You're teaching her that your attention must be earned, not taken for granted. As you pull back, you'll feel the urge to check her social media or look for signs that she misses you. Don't. That's emotional weakness disguised as curiosity. Detach completely and let her feel the weight of your absence. She might act like she doesn't care at first, but that's pride. Most women don't show their feelings immediately, especially when they're trying to appear in control. Give it time. The silence will work for you, not against you. Every day you stay detached, your perceived value increases. She'll begin to think about how easily you let go, and that mystery will start to grow in her mind. The truth is, women are emotional investors. Once they've given attention, affection, or interest, they subconsciously want to feel that their effort wasn't wasted. When you pull back completely, you challenge her ego. You make her question whether she mattered as much as she thought. That discomfort turns into curiosity, and curiosity turns into desire. That's how attraction reignites, not through words, but through emotional imbalance. The person who is less emotionally invested always has the upper hand, and in this case, that person must be you. During this time, focus entirely on yourself. Use the space she created to become better, sharper, and more confident. Upgrade your fitness, your style, your focus, your lifestyle. Let her see, through your silence and self-improvement, that you don't wait for anyone to validate your worth. When she eventually reaches out, and she will, it's not your job to act overly excited. Respond calmly, as if you expected it. That balance of detachment and quiet confidence makes her feel she's dealing with a man who knows his value. Pulling back is not punishment, it's power. It's you saying, I won't chase where I'm not appreciated. It teaches her that losing your attention has consequences. It shows her that you don't beg for emotional crumbs. You require mutual energy. That mindset separates you from every man she's ever tested before. She'll realize you're not emotionally dependent on her presence, and that's exactly what makes her start chasing yours. When she feels the loss, she starts to want back what she once took for granted. That's the beauty of pulling back completely. It flips the dynamic in your favor without a single word spoken. 3. Control your reactions. When a woman ignores you, your reaction decides everything. Most men fail because they can't control how they respond. They act impulsively, texting out of frustration, trying to prove something, or posting things online just to get her attention. Every emotional reaction tells her she still has power over you. Control separates you from every man she's tested before. The one who can't stay calm gives her confirmation that she's in charge. The one who stays steady confuses her completely. Emotional control is the foundation of masculine energy, and it's the most attractive thing you can show when a woman pulls away. The first rule of control is silence. Don't react through messages. Don't comment on her behavior. And don't let your emotions leak through your actions. She will sense your calmness. When you stop feeding the energy she expects, she starts to question her influence. That's where her mind starts spinning. Remember, ignoring you is often a way to measure your stability. Women want to see if a man's emotions depend on their attention. So when you don't react, you're not just ignoring her silence, you're reversing it. You're giving her a taste of her own test. That's how you begin to shift control. Reactions aren't only about what you say or do. They show in your energy, your posture, and even your tone when you talk to her again. A man who is emotionally controlled doesn't raise his voice, doesn't beg for clarity, and doesn't speak with bitterness. He speaks with calm confidence because he knows his value isn't negotiable. When you stay calm, it makes her emotional energy look unstable next to yours. She begins to feel that imbalance. The one who's calm controls the interaction. The one who's emotional loses influence. And women feel that difference deeply. When she sees that she can't provoke you, she starts to feel uncomfortable in her silence. Her curiosity turns into doubt. She starts wondering why you're so composed, why you're not chasing, why you're not reacting the way she expected. That uncertainty begins to build tension inside her. She'll test again, maybe through subtle messages, indirect questions, or emotional triggers. She'll try to see if your calmness was real or temporary. This is where most men fail again. They break character at the first sign of contact. Don't. Stay in control. Respond when you want to, not when she expects it. Speak with short, confident sentences. Show her that her silence never shook your world. Control also means not trying to manipulate her emotionally. You don't post quotes online to hint that you're hurt. You don't try to make her jealous. That's weak energy disguised as strategy. True control means indifference to her response. You don't need to prove that you've moved on. You just move on. That's what confuses her most. When a woman sees you're emotionally grounded, her mind automatically reconsiders your worth. She realizes she can't play the same emotional games with you because you don't play back. That's when respect grows, and respect always precedes renewed attraction. It's important to remember that your emotions are your leverage. The moment you lose them, you give away your power. Every time you feel like reacting, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, what would the strongest version of me do right now? That question keeps your focus on your strength, not on her behavior. Controlling your reaction doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care about yourself more. And that's the energy women are drawn to. When she sees that her silence didn't break you, she starts to see you differently. She begins to miss the man she can't easily control. In the end, your reaction defines how she views you. Stay calm when others panic. Stay silent when others chase. Stay grounded when others crumble. That's how you separate yourself from every man she's met before. Control your reactions, and you'll control the outcome. 4. Let silence do the talking. Silence is one of the most powerful tools a man can use when a woman ignores him. Most men rush to fill the space with words, explanations, or attempts to fix what they think went wrong. But silence speaks louder than any message you could send. It creates emotional tension, forces her to sit with her own thoughts, and makes her question her actions. When you go quiet, you're not retreating. You're shifting control. You're letting her feel what it's like to lose your attention, and that's something no woman forgets easily. Silence has a psychological effect that works deeply in human behavior. When someone is used to constant attention or validation and that energy suddenly disappears, the mind reacts. It starts asking questions. Why isn't he reaching out? Did he lose interest? Did he meet someone else? Those thoughts grow stronger the longer your silence continues. You don't have to play games or act fake. Just stop feeding the situation with energy. Your quietness will do the work for you. She might pretend not to care, but every woman notices when a man who once paid attention suddenly withdraws it completely. The key is to be consistent. Silence only works when it's steady and natural. You can't ignore her one day and then cave in the next. That inconsistency shows you're acting, not being. Real silence comes from confidence, not frustration. You're not using it to get a reaction. You're using it to protect your peace. You understand that chasing or explaining only lowers your value. A man who truly values himself doesn't force communication. He allows it to happen organically. When she senses that your silence isn't emotional, but intentional, it changes everything. She starts to see your value through your absence. While you stay silent, focus on your life. This is the time to build momentum, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Hit the gym, elevate your work, spend time around people who inspire you. Let your energy grow so strong that when she finally looks your way again, she feels the difference instantly. Silence works best when it's paired with growth. It makes her realize that your attention is no longer free. It's earned. Every woman respects a man who doesn't need to announce his worth because his actions already speak for him. Understand this. Silence creates space, and space creates reflection. When you're not there to feed her ego, she starts to reflect on her behavior. She begins to remember the attention you once gave, the way you made her feel, the presence she once enjoyed. That emotional recall is what brings her back. Not your words, but the contrast between how it was and how it is now. The human mind always values what it loses, especially when it thought it would always be there. You'll notice that when your silence starts to affect her, she might test you again. She might send a short message, react to your post, or ask how you've been. This is not the time to jump in eagerly. Respond calmly, but don't over-invest. Let her feel that you're not desperate for connection. The more she senses that your silence came from strength, the more she'll be drawn to break hers. Reverse psychology works when she realizes she's now the one reaching out. That shift in energy is what resets attraction. In today's world, where everyone craves instant validation, silence stands out. It shows maturity, discipline, and emotional intelligence. It proves that you can walk away from what doesn't value you. And when she feels the weight of that, it plants a deep thought in her mind. Maybe I was wrong about him. That single thought is powerful enough to change her behavior completely. Let silence speak for you. Let it communicate your worth, your boundaries, and your strength. Because when you stop explaining yourself, you force her to listen in the quiet, and that's where true influence begins. 5. Show genuine indifference. The moment a woman ignores you, what she's really watching for is your emotional reaction. She wants to see whether her silence can move you, whether you'll start chasing her, or whether you'll stand firm in your confidence. Genuine indifference is the ultimate response. It's not pretending you don't care. It's actually being fine either way. That energy is rare in today's world, where most people are ruled by ego, fear of rejection, and emotional dependency. When you can truly detach from needing her validation, you instantly separate yourself from the rest. Indifference isn't coldness, it's power. It's the quiet confidence that says, "I'll be okay whether you stay or go." Most men try to fake indifference. They tell themselves they don't care, but deep down, they're still checking her social media, waiting for a reply, or talking about her constantly. That's not indifference. That's suppressed attachment. Real indifference comes when you focus so much on your own growth, your goals, and your peace that her actions stop affecting you emotionally. You no longer base your happiness on her presence. That's when your energy changes completely. You stop trying to prove your worth because you already know it. You stop trying to be chosen because you've already chosen yourself. That's when she feels the shift, and it's powerful. Women can sense indifference the same way they sense confidence. They can tell when a man's attention is no longer emotionally charged. When you reach that point, she starts to feel the loss. She realizes that your validation was feeding her ego, and now that it's gone, there's a void. Her mind begins to replay your interactions, searching for signs that maybe she misread your feelings. She wonders if you've moved on or if you've simply outgrown her. That uncertainty turns into attraction, because women are wired to chase emotional stability wrapped in mystery. Indifference doesn't mean disrespect. It means you've shifted your focus away from her and toward your own life. You start investing that same energy into things that bring you real fulfillment. Your work, your passions, your fitness, your peace. You live as if she's no longer the center of your emotional world. And paradoxically, that's what pulls her back in. When a woman sees that she no longer has emotional control over you, she starts to crave that influence again. That's the power of reverse psychology. You create attraction, not by giving more, but by giving less. To practice genuine indifference, you must master your emotions. The next time she ignores your message, take it as a reminder to detach even further. Don't overthink. Don't take it personally, and don't react. Just carry on with your life like nothing happened. Go out, meet new people, stay busy, and focus on improving every area of yourself. Every minute spent worrying about her is a minute taken from your growth. Replace that emotional energy with action, and soon you'll notice that her silence doesn't even bother you anymore. That's when you've reached true indifference. When she finally senses this shift, her energy will change. She might start reaching out subtly, bringing up old memories, or testing your response to see if she still has influence. That's her trying to re-establish emotional control. But you stay calm. Respond, but don't chase. Engage, but don't invest emotionally. Let her feel that you've evolved past the need for her validation. That's how you regain full power in the dynamic. She'll feel drawn to the calm confidence you now carry. Women are naturally attracted to men who are content without them, because it shows strength. Indifference is the silent declaration of self-worth. It tells her that your world doesn't revolve around her decisions. It's not about revenge or ego. It's about peace. When she ignores you, don't react, don't explain, and don't chase. Just live. The more you detach from needing her attention, the more her attention naturally returns. Real indifference is freedom, and freedom is what makes a man truly magnetic. 6. Let your lifestyle speak. When a woman ignores you, your lifestyle becomes your loudest response. Words lose meaning when attention fades, but results always speak. Most men waste energy trying to get explanations or closure, but the strongest men redirect that energy into building a life so full and focused that it becomes impossible to ignore. Your lifestyle should tell the story of who you are, what you value, and where you're headed. When you move in silence and grow with purpose, you create curiosity. And curiosity is what pulls her attention back more effectively than any text ever could. Your lifestyle is your message to the world. When she stops replying or starts acting distant, you don't argue about it. You simply elevate yourself. You start showing progress without bragging. You post photos of you living, not trying. You invest your time into projects, passions, and physical improvement. You become busier, sharper, and harder to reach. That shift communicates one thing clearly. You're not waiting for her validation to move forward. You're too focused on becoming the best version of yourself to dwell on who's ignoring you. That's the kind of energy that commands respect. In the modern dating world, image and energy go hand in hand. Women notice the man who's consistent with his habits. They notice who's disciplined, who's driven, and who doesn't let rejection stop his momentum. When she sees you doing better without her involvement, it triggers two things: admiration and confusion. She starts asking herself, did I underestimate him? Or, how did he get even more confident? That's when you know your lifestyle is doing the talking. You don't need to chase her. You just need to keep moving forward. Focus on creating a rhythm of growth that doesn't depend on attention. Wake up early, train hard, handle your business, and pursue goals that make you proud. Let your progress be your silence. When she eventually checks your profile, sees your updates, or hears about your new accomplishments, she'll feel the shift. The man she ignored is no longer standing still. He's advancing. That creates an emotional impact far greater than words ever could. She'll start to realize that losing your presence means losing access to a man who's leveling up. That realization stings because it challenges her ego. She thought you'd pause for her. Instead, you upgraded without her. There's also something magnetic about a man who's fully immersed in his purpose. Women are naturally drawn to ambition, discipline, and self-respect. When you live with direction, it radiates through your presence. You walk differently, talk differently, and handle situations with calm confidence. That's what makes her reevaluate you. You've become the man who doesn't need anyone's attention to validate his value. The same silence that once came from her now becomes yours, expressed through focus and achievement. This doesn't mean flaunting success or using progress to prove something. That's ego-driven. The goal is authenticity. You grow because that's what you're meant to do. You evolve because you refuse to stay stuck in emotional loops. A man who truly invests in his growth doesn't do it to impress a woman. He does it to fulfill his potential. Ironically, that's what makes women chase him later. The confidence that comes from self-mastery can't be faked, and it's the foundation of real attraction. The next time she ignores you, remember, attention isn't earned by chasing, it's earned by becoming. Instead of seeking closure, seek progress. Instead of trying to make her notice you, become someone impossible not to notice. Let your lifestyle reflect discipline, balance, and quiet strength. That's how you win without words. Because when she eventually looks back, it won't be your messages she remembers. It'll be the man you became when she stopped paying attention. And that man, the one who grew in silence, always ends up with the upper hand. 7. Reappear with purpose. After you've held your frame, pulled back, mastered silence, and built a stronger lifestyle, there comes a moment when life naturally gives you an opening to reappear. And this is where most men either win everything or lose it all. Reappearing with purpose means you don't return to prove a point or seek validation. You return because you're now a different man, one who doesn't need her attention to feel complete. The way you show up again should reflect growth, calmness, and quiet confidence. When you reappear with that kind of energy, she feels it instantly. It's not about what you say. It's about what your presence communicates. The key is timing and authenticity. Never rush to make your comeback. Let time work in your favor. The longer you've been silent and focused on yourself, the more powerful your reappearance becomes. When you do cross paths again, whether through social media, mutual friends, or by chance, your energy must say everything your words don't. You look better, sound more centered, and carry yourself differently. You're not acting, you've genuinely evolved. Women are intuitive. They can sense when a man has leveled up internally. When she sees that, her curiosity turns into attraction because you've shown what most men never do: emotional evolution. Reappearing doesn't mean showing off. You don't need to make big statements or flaunt changes. You simply exist with a sense of ease. Maybe you post a picture of your new environment. Maybe you attend an event where she might see you, or maybe she reaches out first. However it happens, your only job is to remain grounded. When she talks to you again, your tone should be calm and detached. You're not trying to reopen old wounds. You're just being present, living your life. That's the kind of reappearance that creates impact. A woman remembers the emotional state she felt when she last interacted with you. If you come back carrying the same energy, neediness, frustration, or unresolved emotion, she'll feel nothing new. But if you return centered, confident, and self-assured, she feels the contrast. That contrast reminds her of the value she overlooked. You've become a different emotional experience, and that's what reignites interest. Reverse psychology is powerful here because she realizes she's the one feeling uncertain now. She starts trying to figure out what changed, why you're so calm, and why her opinion no longer affects you. That's the psychological shift that brings her closer. When you reappear, let your words match your new energy. Speak with purpose, not pressure. Keep the conversation light, direct, and positive. Avoid talking about the past or why she pulled away. That shows emotional detachment and maturity. You're not chasing closure. You've already given it to yourself. Every interaction should show that you've moved forward mentally and emotionally. Women are drawn to men who make peace with what was and focus on what's next. That kind of mindset creates respect, and respect is the soil attraction grows from. Also, never reappear too early. Many men destroy their power by re-engaging before their transformation is complete. If you still feel emotional about her distance, stay silent longer. Only come back when your energy is genuinely detached. Because when your presence is rooted in peace, she feels it. When it's rooted in ego or revenge, she senses that too, and she'll pull back again. Patience is part of the strategy. The stronger you become in the quiet, the more powerful your presence becomes when you finally reappear. When she notices the change, she'll likely test you again, maybe by acting distant or bringing up old issues. Don't react. Respond with the calm strength that defines your new self. Let your actions speak for you. She'll realize she can't manipulate you the same way anymore. She'll see that the man who once chased her now leads with quiet purpose. That's the kind of transformation that not only makes her notice you again, but also makes her respect you on a deeper level. Reappear with purpose, not emotion. Reappear as the man who grew in her absence, and she'll never look at you the same way again. When a woman ignores you, it's not the end, it's a test. It's her way of seeing how you handle distance, silence, and uncertainty. Most men fail because they chase, explain, or overreact. But the truth is, the moment she pulls away is the moment you get to show your strength. How you respond in that silence defines how she sees you forever. If you can stay calm, pull back, Control your reactions, and let your actions speak louder than your words. You instantly separate yourself from every man she's dealt with before. The secret isn't to play games, it's to master yourself. Reverse psychology works not because you manipulate her emotions, but because you stop letting her behavior control yours. When you hold your frame, live with purpose, and move forward with confidence, she feels it deeply. She might not show it right away, but she notices. Women are drawn to emotional stability and men who don't crumble under pressure. The more peace you have within yourself, the more power you carry in any dynamic. So, the next time she ignores you, remember, your silence, your self-control, and your growth are your greatest weapons. Don't chase validation. Don't seek closure. Just become better, stronger, and more focused. Let your absence speak for you, because when she finally realizes what she lost, it won't be the messages she misses. It'll be the man who knew exactly how to act when she thought he wouldn't. That's real strength. That's real attraction.